Hi Aries, it's Jen here from tarotspirit.net. I am doing a 2017 overview reading. I already shuffled the cards to save time. You guys have a very interesting reading. Um, so let's just jump into it. I did a row for work and career, a row for relationships and romance, and sort of an overall what spiritual lessons we're going to be learning, and which uh, th- three twos came out at the bottom here, which is really interesting. So for me, it's going to be a year about decisions for you. And you do have some sort of interesting cards. The first card in the career is the devil. Isn't this devil card crazy? Like this big, it reminds me of Game of Thrones, that the mountain. So the devil, what I feel like is that some of you, I mean, you are to me the type A personality in the deck, depending, of course, on your other placements. But my riding teacher, who was in the Olympics, was an Aries. I mean, so you don't get into the Olympics by just sitting back and waiting for things to happen. So this drive that you have, I feel like I need to caution you guys about becoming workaholics and overdoing it. And the twos for me are cards of balance. So I think you're going to learn this year how to make sure you have balance and not overdoing things too much. Next to the devil, you have the Five of Cups, and again, this for me in the career category is overdoing it, overworking to the point where it's like you come home and you're so exhausted, you just need to have a couple drinks to like unwind and relax because there's just so much stress and anxiety. So, for those of you that are in that type of work situation, obviously not everyone's going to be over, a workaholic or feeling like they have to work so hard that it's just they can't they had to find ways to cope with it that maybe aren't so healthy. For those of you that are in that situation, it's just to really notice if you're into sort of any sort of negative pattern that is happening because of your career, because of stress, because of just being exhausted. And if you do notice that you're one of the Aries that is happening to, you're really going to take a stand this year and put some boundaries down so that this pattern and this type of situation doesn't perpetuate. It's not something you're going to tolerate anymore. You're going to really understand the need for balance, and that you can't, as driven as you are, it can't come at the cost of your health or your family or your happiness, your life, and that's just not something you're going to tolerate anymore. And so you're going to take a stand, and a lot of this is don't check your email at work. Don't have your work email on your phone. Some people that's not possible. But really making some boundaries and taking a stand and not and just keeping your work separate from the rest of your life so that you can have a break. You can have a place where you're not just eating, sleeping, breathing, um, making money, your work, whatever that is for you. And so, but you do stand up. The good news is that you do stand up and you pull yourself out of this negative situation. If you're in a job that where you feel that way, look for a new job. Figure it out. But at a minimum, take a stand and have some boundaries. But your fortune is changing. So if you're coming into the year feeling that way, the things are going to change for you. the wheel is turning and things will get better. But you may need, and it shouldn't, you may need to stick up for yourself. You may need to remove yourself from that job. You may need to put your foot down, put up some boundaries. But things will be changing. So that's very good news if your career has been really stressing you out and exhausting. Now, in relationships, for some of you as well, there has been some discord. And I really feel like this is a year for you where you're not going to compromise. If someone stabs you in the back, you're walking away. If you're with someone that there's a lot of arguing and unrest, you're gonna walk away. Like you're just not gonna tolerate things. So if you're in a really happy, beautiful relationship, obviously this won't resonate with you and doesn't apply to you, but perhaps there are other relationships in your life that are not romantic, and that's going to be, then it may apply to that, where you're not going to tolerate it. You're not going to have friends in your life that, you have that one buddy Mike that always gets drunk and ruins and starts a fight. You have that one girlfriend who's the drama queen that always is just always having some crisis, and every post on Facebook is some weird little cry for help, or you know what I mean. You're just not going to tolerate falseness and negativity and difficulty. And there's an aspect of daydreaming here. It's like you want that great love, you want the happiness, you want all those things. But I feel like this year is going to be about removing yourself from any negative situations and sort of daydreaming about a new relationship, but it's a little bit like you're still not sure exactly what that's going to look like. There could be some, this is a card about fantasy. So make sure that you're not continually to bring in someone into your life that is too idealistic. Like, how do I want to put this? Well, this has come up for other signs. So if you're a guy and you like to hike and be outdoors, maybe you should stop dating women that only wear high heels and are made up to the hilt and don't like bugs and don't like to get their hair wet and don't like to go outside. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, you may be really attracted. That may be your fantasy girl, but your lifelong partner is probably someone that's going to be a little more down to earth, that doesn't mind getting outside and getting sweaty and throwing your hair in a ponytail and camping overnight when you go hiking. It's just sort of making sure that the fantasy and the reality, how will those go together? How do those fit? Because if they're bringing in more negative energy, you may have to adjust what your expectations are. Now, I want to focus more way down here because that's sort of mundane stuff. So if you're in a job that's just like, not healthy for you, you're going to need to take a stand. If you're with someone that is constantly fighting and bickering, you're going to take a stand. But the real substance of the reading is down here. So we have this 10 of Cups, the happily ever after card. So you're really getting clear this year about what that looks like. And this will look very different. People have to understand and come to the realization in their life that happily ever after is rarely the same for everyone. You may think because we're raised that, okay, getting married, having kids, that's happily ever after. Well, that is not necessarily look anything like you're happily ever after. You may not want to get married. You may not want to have kids. You may not want to have a big house. You may want to travel. You may want to live in a tiny home so you have money to do that. You may want dogs, not kids. You know what I mean? I mean, whatever. Whatever. What do you really want? Do you really want to get married? Do you really want that high-powered job? Do you really what do you really want? So really thinking about that, and this this thought provoking this thoughtfulness is going to drive some of what was happening up top. Like, I don't want to work for the man till I'm dead and exhausted and having to have a couple big drinks to even like be able to deal because I'm so stressed out all the time. Like, I don't want that. Maybe you want to climb Mount Everest. I'm sorry, that just popped into my head. Maybe you want to, what do you want to do? That this year is going to be answering those big questions. Then you have these 3 twos. This is a meeting of the minds, even though it's usually the 2 of swords is that way. So if you look, these guys are meeting on what do I want to say? Neutral ground. They're up in the air here, so they're above their emotions. They're meeting together on this neutral place, and they're just talking it out. So I see, and we also have the 2 of cups and the 2 of wands. So you may need to communicate with people. You're going to be communicating. Once you figure out what you want, you're going to be communicating your needs to people. And it's sort of like panning for gold. A lot of people may shake out of your life this year because now that you're really starting to figure out what you really want, what your happily ever after is, the people that really are going to hold you back or don't want that or support that, you're probably going to walk away from. And it doesn't have to be in a mean, nasty way, and it doesn't mean they can't be a part of your life, but they may not be your live-in boyfriend, girlfriend, or even marriage partner, because something will have shifted in you, and things are going to come together in your mind, and you're going to really realize that maybe a lot of the things that you were driven to go after might not necessarily be what's truly important to you. It's what society wanted, what your parents wanted, what you thought you wanted because you thought that's what you were supposed to do. But maybe that's not the case anymore, because this you're realizing that's not what you want in your career. This isn't what you want in your love life. And making some decisions. But I think what's really, really crazy and cool is that it will bring in that once you get clearer on what you really do want, then it's like it can come in, because that's you've set yourself up in a way, how you're living your life, what you're doing, what you're accepting, what you're not accepting, to allow that situation to come in. This is the 2 of cups. This is the true love card. So this can be, you're going to find your true love career, your relationship, your friends, your group, your passion. It's really going to come together this year, but it's going to take some hard work. You guys have a little bit of hard work this year to do, but it's going to, in the end, be really, you guys aren't afraid of hard work. It's going to be really exciting, because as you're leaving the end, what you're going to learn and what you're going to get out of this year is you're going to be working towards your happily ever after. And you're going to realize that you create that. That comes from within you. The decisions you make, the things you will and will not tolerate. And and living your life, not having life live you, not just going to work and coming home and being stressed out and working for the weekend, and those terrible habits that especially Americans seem to have more than other people. I'm not sure if that's true, but that's what it sounds like. That's not going to be enough. There needs to be balance. There needs to be um, some house cleaning, some housekeeping, some soul searching to figure out what you want, leaving some things behind in order to make way for new things to come in. Okay, well, I'm going to leave it there. I don't need to just keep babbling. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you at the next video. Take care.